Well, hey everybody, Barry Climbing. Coming back today is training camp day 5, and we're going to talk about a concept that is pretty much it's everything, non-negotiables. But I want to backtrack just a quick second. Today was the last meeting of the year of a mastermind group in which I'm involved. I don't run it. I I pay to be in it because I think it's just there's so much value at it. I'm still trying to extract as much value as possible. We went through an exercise this morning that was I'll share in a different segment, but it made me the session today made me reflect on some of the things I've learned in the group, and one of the things struck me as perfectly anecdotal to describe everything we're trying to do here with this winning the fifth quarter project program, and particularly as it relates to training camp. Right, um, I think so many people. What I'm asking you to do and write and get familiar with yourself, I know it's important. And again, greater minds than mine, Napoleon Hill and other great Stephen Covey and so forth, um, recognize self assessment. But I was reminded of a quote this morning that I learned in our group, and it was it's hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle. I'll say it again. It's hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle. And it's, first of all, it's so true. And of course, it's an amazing quote. I don't know who said it. I'd like to make them a giant, right? One of the giants of this program. I don't know who said it or who's originally said it, but it's pretty genius. And it's really true. And one of the reasons we do these personal and self assessments is to get outside the bottle, right? See our own label, see how we're presenting ourselves to the world, see if the way we're presenting ourselves to the world is the way we really are, the way we want to present, are we in integrity, and all those things. So, again, all this is on you, for you, by you. What do you want to happen? But think about it like that quote. It's really hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle, which is the point of doing some of these exercises and little bits of tiny bits of writing I'm asking you to do. I'm suggesting you to do so to help you, right? Not me. I do my own. So at the end of the last session, we talked about this concept, this very powerful concept of why, right? And the main reason that we include why in these training camp sessions is none of us can do everything, right? None of us can possibly do everything. So we have to do the things that have the highest priority in our life. Sometimes, as Stephen Covey says, we get caught in the thick of thin things. We get dragged in directions we don't want to. Take a break, get outside the bottle, do this sort of work on yourself. So we ended up yesterday with speaking about Dr. King and Oprah Winfrey and the Wright brothers and Steve Jobs and how their whys really changed not just their own lives, but the world for incredibly profoundly. Airplanes and dream computers and civil rights. And I mean, it's incredible. What I left out yesterday was if you were to go revisit your vision statement, I'm assuming you made one. If you don't, again, we'll talk about this here in a second, but did you ever sit and write down why you said what you wanted to do is what you want to do? You ever sit down why and think about it? The why will help you get outside the bottle and really think about you and your actions and your time and your resources and the people with whom you associate and all these things. I'm not preaching everybody do what you want. Again, it's your life. I'm just trying to share some of the things that have been um, impactful to my own and put them together in this program and use the words of giants again, although I don't know the inside the bottle quote. But you got to get clear, right? Clarity is everything. And that's why. Um, so anyway, understand your whys for your vision. Why do you say you want to do what you want to do? And we come to this next concept by a guy named Ansel Adams. If you don't know Ansel's work, it's kind of ironic. As you see, I'm here in black and white. I don't know why, for whatever reasons, I got stuck on the. I'm sorry, I tripped over a setting on the camera I'm with, and I said, "Oh, it looks kind of cool." So some people like it, some don't. But Ansel was very famous for his photographs in black and white all over Yosemite Valley here in California. Just mind blowing. A quick little inside baseball, if you will. There's an Ansel Adams Museum inside of Yosemite National Forest, and then there's a right outside. There's a Ansel Adams National Forest in a little town called Lee Vining, California. Lee Vining is on Highway 395. I know I'm digressing, but you really need to know this. Highway 395 runs on the eastern side of the Sierras, um, and it's a road that goes from LA mountains all the way up to Reno, Nevada. And it's the most exquisite ride you'll ever take in your life. And I mean, it's like being in an IMAX movie sitting in your car. It's incredible. Lee Vining is one of those towns. So anyway, little inside baseball once again. I digress. So Ansel here says he's a great photographer, but there's nothing worse than a brilliant image of a fuzzy concept. Man. So on the screen in front of you, it says check any of the following boxes you think is appropriate so far. You're comfortable with your being unique. We talked about Jay-Z. You're comfortable with the fact that you're unique. You're aware of your responsibilities to yourself. You're establishing the vision that you have for yourself. You're working on your why. You're writing it all down. You're focused on having a bit of fun along the way. And you really, truly understand that Rome wasn't built in a day. Think tiny. So when you get these things and you understand yourself that much better, you come to this concept that I call non-negotiables. Merriam-Webster says, defines it as not open to discussion or reconsideration. So we all have them. When you know yours and you know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do and why, um, you'll save yourself a lot of time and heartache, right? If you know your non-negotiables. Um, the story I'll tell quickly about it is a bunch of years ago, back in 2001, I was dot com. It's right. I went broke. Dot com turned into dot bomb, and there were a number of out of work uh, people here in the Bay Area, a bunch of CFOs, and there was a meeting, Financial Executive Institute meeting down at Ming's in Palo Alto. It's no longer there, but anybody who's listening to this from California knows it, Northern California. And so many of the people in the room were former CFOs, and I say former because they were out of work. And everybody's dogma, pardon me, everybody, bad allergy day, believe it or not, everybody's dogma in that group was, well, I'm a CFO, I'm a CFO. And they thought that they had reached this perch and they were bulletproof. But of course, that's not true, right? It's three letters next to your name. It means nothing. So anyway, they were talking about, well, I just want to be a CFO. They were, again, out of work and not used to being out of work. And I just want to be a CFO. I just want to be a CFO. Well, um, I got up there. I can certainly be a bit of a smart ass when I want to, um, for a greater good. And again, my job that day was provide perspective, realistic perspective for the group of people in the room. And I said to them, actually, you're not a CFO. You're out of work. And I was very unpopular in the room at that moment, but I was being honest. I said, if being a CFO is really all that matters, you should open up a donut shop. Now you own this donut shop and you can be the CFO of the donut shop. Barry was really unpopular at that moment, but trying to stress a point. Somebody else said, I just want to make a lot of money. I had just gotten done reading Jay-Z's book. My son was reading it at the time, and Jay-Z, of course, early on in his life dealt crack cocaine. And I said, well, if you just want to make a lot of money, consider selling crack. Again, not popular in this room. Um, well, I don't want to do it. It's too dangerous, or I don't want to be a donut shop. I get it. What I was trying to explain to people is they had non-negotiables, right? They wanted to be a CFO, but not at the risk, and they wanted to make a lot of money, but not at the risk of getting shot on the job or whatever other trappings are involved in the profession of the vocation, I should say, of dealing drugs. Um, and they didn't want to be in a donut shop. That was not what they wanted. But I said, well, what's the top priority? What is non-negotiable in this search, in this process? So this whole part of non-negotiable is maybe that's a good story, maybe it's not. It's a true story. This whole part of non-negotiable is something that we all need to understand. Otherwise, we will get dragged in another direction. What's that quote? You're either part of your own strategy or somebody else's. So the point of this exercise, the point of this non-negotiable um, um, understanding of yourself is to know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. Right? Otherwise, again, you will get lured in directions that, well, I probably should just do this now. If it doesn't fit your ethos, if it doesn't fit your belief system, if it doesn't fit your any other constraints or things that you might have, then that's the point of this exercise. Doing it will drag you away from something that matters more to you, non-negotiable. There's nothing worse than a brilliant image of a fuzzy concept, right? So there's another sheet here, on where'd it go here? Um, Another sheet here on this page. Um, Give it a shot for yourself. Think about and write down one thing in your life that's not open to discussion or modification. One thing, just one. Think about it, write it down, tweak it, erase it, go back to it. We all have them. And the last quote here from Zig Ziglar: the chief cause of failure and unhappiness is trading what you want most for what you want now. I think I first heard it from Dr. Covey, but it doesn't matter. You get the idea. So that's it. Again, this is for you by you. Not knowing your non-negotiables is a recipe for something not optimal to happen for you and in your life, for you by you. What do you want to happen? Figure out your non-negotiables. I hope this is helpful. If you ever get a chance to visit Lee Vining and Highway 395 right outside of Yosemite Forest, it's spectacular. Stay safe, everybody.